claims of Ellen DeGeneres auctioning off children in dirty Hollywood, specifically to Diddy. And as we already know from this channel, this also correlates and connects very closely to Jeffrey Epstein and the Epstein files. The video we're viewing today is talking about how Ellen DeGeneres is panicking after this footage has gone viral. It's our job to determine if the claims are legit. I'm having my morning coffee. What are you guys drinking right now as you watch this video? And thank you so much for subscribing, becoming part of our community.
There's a video going around right now, and once you watch it, you won't be able to unsee it. It shows Ellen DeGeneres bringing a group of young ones out on stage, then handing them straight over to Diddy, almost like she's not making an introduction.
Okay.
She's placing a bid. And this isn't some rare one-time thing. This happened again and again for years, right in front of a laughing audience who had no idea what they were really watching. Nobody clapped harder than the people in that studio, and nobody understood less about what was actually going on. Now, quick context before we dive in case you're not fully caught up, because you're going to need this to understand everything else in this video. Diddy is a convicted criminal, and he is pretty close to Ellen DeGeneres. And that's exactly where Ellen comes into this story. Her talk show ran for almost 20 years, and in that time, Diddy appeared on her stage more than 17 times.
My biggest question that I have about this regarding the auctioning off or any of the things that went on Ellen's show, why were evil things that were going on being teased in front of an audience that really wasn't aware of what was happening? We're seeing Diddy, where Dirty Hollywood knew what was going on with Diddy. Why was he continuously a guest? Why was Ellen DeGeneres' set staged to look like the temple on Epstein Island? It's like they were trying to throw it at us, laughing that we had no idea what was happening right under our noses. And to be honest, we didn't until now.
Between 2006 and 2022. That's not a handful of guest spots. That's a standing relationship built over almost 2 decades with the same jokes, the same warmth, and the same audience laughing along every single time. So let's start pulling apart what actually happened on that stage, piece by piece, because once you see it laid out, you won't look at these clips the same way again. Let's start with the clip that hits the hardest, right out of the gate. On one of his appearances, Diddy is sitting on Ellen's couch, talking almost casually about how he controls kids in the industry. At the time, this got a laugh from the audience. Nobody blinked, nobody paused. It was just another quotable Diddy moment. But now, knowing what he was convicted of, that same clip feels completely different. It's the kind of line that should stop you cold the second time around.
I'm going to take your souls. We have the power. We decide what's hot. If we don't go, nobody goes. If we don't support, nobody supports. We control what's cool. We control what's hot. We control what your kids listen to, what they dance to. We control what's in video games. We control how they wear their pants, sag their pants. We control everything.
Now here's the moment tied directly to the video everyone is talking about. And honestly, it's the one that started this whole investigation.
What Diddy was saying there is actually kind of true, because media does control all of those things. Style, fashion, what our kids do and listen to, and how they dress does get reflected very much by what's happening in the music industry or in Hollywood itself, which is actually scary to know now how corrupt this space is, how evil this space is. And I'm very comfortable using that word evil to think that our children are being influenced by these people, which tells me that as a parent, I need to do an even better job than we ever thought before to raise my children with the proper values and just raise my children right. And so do you.
Ellen brought a group of young cancer patients from an organization called Fight All Monsters out onto her stage.
What is the date today? I completely,
Thursday. Yeah.
Thursday,
The 20th.
I was completely wrong, wasn't I? I had the dates wrong all this time. Diddy, come on out.
Yep.
These were sick kids, some of them fighting for their lives, and Diddy's music had become their anthem for survival. So when Ellen called him out from backstage as a surprise, the whole room lit up. It was the kind of moment built to make you reach for a tissue, the kind that gets clipped and shared as a feel-good story for years. But think about this for a second, because this is where it gets hard to watch. Nobody is saying anything happened to these specific children that day. That part matters, so let's be clear about it. But a group of vulnerable, sick kids was placed directly in front of a man who has since been convicted of exploiting young people. And Ellen is the one who set that moment up, start to finish. And it doesn't stop there. On another appearance, Diddy talks about adopting a white child, right there on the same show, in the same casual tone he used for everything else.
My name's Ava. I'm a Scorpio.
No. What's your last name?
Ava Combs.
What's your other last name?
Ava Baroni.
Eva Baroni Combs? Yes, it's breaking news.
This is actually terrible to see. I did not know that he adopted a child. Let's just hope that nothing happened to this girl.
Diddy adopted a white child. I want you to tell them the story about how I adopted you.
Did he adopt a white child to prove that he wasn't a racist person? Not saying that there were any claims that there was any racism there. I'm not aware of them if they were. But would this be a claim to show, for him to try and show society that he loves all people, no matter what color, what race? I don't know.
But you still have beautiful parents but you're my child also. But please tell the story.
So, I was on the streets, and then Papa Combs decided that he would like to be a caring man. So then he saw me and decided to pick me up and said to come inside and play with his kids.
Back then, that got treated like a fun, quirky comment.
That, right now, with the context that I know, and that you know, because you guys watch the channel, that is disgustingly disturbing.
The kind of thing you'd expect from an eccentric celebrity. Looking back now, it's a lot harder to laugh at. Next, there's the conversation about his daughters. And this one is honestly hard to sit through once you know what to listen for. Diddy is on the show talking about his daughters,
Drinking.
who were around 15 years old at the time. And Ellen keeps pushing, asking why they aren't dating yet.
I don't know what you're talking about. My daughter's only 15.
They're not dating?
No, they're not. Not that they better not be dating right now.
They're 15. They've got to have boyfriends or girlfriends or something. That's an age you start, like, being interested.
I didn't know that.
How old were you when you first started getting interested in...
I was wild. I was different. I was from a whole nother time.
I have to say, I'm going to go out on a limb and say this. He's actually pretty entertaining when he's on stage. The things that he says are actually pretty funny. Probably part of the reason why he was able to fool everyone and be someone that so many people, we could go as far as saying, loved, right? But knowing the evil person beneath is what's the most scary, because he is enjoyable to watch. And even Ellen, even though she does put some people in some bad situations, she was a master of disguise herself.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Oh my God.
They're cheerleaders, right?
No, I really thought that they don't start dating till like 17, right? When do they start dating? Oh my God.
See, it's actually kind of funny.
Like 14. They have to have boyfriends. Have you met them yet?
No, they don't have any boyfriends.
Well, you're confused now.
Yeah.
Then she turns it around on Diddy, asking if he was doing the same thing at that age. And he confirms it right there on camera without a hint of hesitation. Now line that up with the sick kids moment we just talked about. If 14 and 15-year-olds dating grown adults was treated like a joke instead of a red flag, that same mindset makes the whole surprise with the cancer kids look a lot less like an accident and a lot more like part of a bigger pattern. Then there are the parties, and this is where things stop feeling like a coincidence at all. Diddy describes parties running until 2 a.m., 3 a.m., deep into the morning.
Okay, there's nothing wrong with parties going deep into the morning. We've all been to a party at a time in our life that went past midnight, a late party. That doesn't make us bad people. But there's more that's going on at these parties, these freak-offs.
And Ellen confirms, right there on camera, that she already knew these parties happened.
So tell me about your birthday party. Am I invited?
Yes, you're definitely invited. I invite you to all my parties. You just haven't seen to show up.
No, well, is it on the East Coast?
Yes.
Well, that's why. Why don't you have one here on the West Coast? Because I work all the time.
Okay, well, maybe I have one at your house.
Where's that? Now, what time would your party start, let's say?
Like 9:30.
Really? That early?
Yeah.
I could make that.
Yeah.
But I could think of you of starting a party at like midnight. Like, what time will it go till?
That's a different type of party, though.
There it is.
No, it'll go from like 9:30 to like maybe 3 o'clock, 3 o'clock. And then, we have the top 2 floors of the hotel.
Mm-hmm. And then it will carry on there?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, I mean the after party.
No, I know about them.
She knows about them.
Remember, we now know exactly what those parties turned out to be, thanks to Cassie Ventura's case and the federal conviction that followed. These weren't just wild celebrity parties with good music and bad decisions. They were documented sites of exploitation and abuse, laid out in detail in court. And it gets even more direct than that. In another clip, Ellen asks Diddy what time he stays up until. He says 6 a.m., easy as that.
What time do you stay up till?
I stay up till like maybe 6 in the morning. I'm back up at like 10:30, 11.
6 in the morning? What do you do every night till 6 in the morning? You don't go to clubs every night.
No, I mean, I make love a lot. You know,
That's
Ellen,
my favorite answer ever.
I told you when I came on the show I was gonna be completely honest and expose myself to the world.
Really? Is he? Is he?
She pushes further, asking what he's doing all night, and he says, making love, a lot. Ellen smiles and says that's her favorite part too, like it's the most normal thing in the world to say on daytime television.
What time do you stay up till?
I stay up till like maybe 6 in the morning. I'm back up at like 10:30, 11.
6 in the morning? What do you do every night till 6 in the morning? You don't go to clubs every night.
No, I mean, I make love a lot. And, you know,
That's
Ellen,
my favorite answer ever.
I told you when I came on the show I was gonna be completely honest and expose myself to the world.
And if you think that sounds like an exaggeration, just look at what Cat Williams had been saying for years,
He's been
long
blowing them
before
up
any
forever.
of this became public. He warned people over and over about exactly this kind of gathering, and everybody called him unhinged. They rolled their eyes and moved on. Turns out, he was right the whole time.
Turn down $50 million. Now, I've had to turn down $50 million 4 times just to protect my integrity and that virgin hole I was telling you about. Right, because P. Diddy be wanting to party.
So what he basically was just saying in his own words is he was offered $50 million on 4 occasions, and if he took that opportunity for whatever job it was, he was going to have to engage in activities that he was not comfortable engaging in. And he was talking about relations with other men. And he said that he turned it down on 4 different occasions, and then he brought P. Diddy's name into it.
And you gotta tell him no. You got to tell him no. I did. I did.
Motherfucker be gay in Hollywood, you never fucking expected. They be having these big ass mansion parties, and the mansion party, the whole mansion is a party, and then it's a separate party in the little rooms. I ain't been famous that goddamn long. I'm excited in a motherfucker to be at the mansion party. You be looking at all the goddamn rooms, and you around and look in the wrong room. Nick, come here.
Why you think I speak with such clarity? I'm actually involved in each one of these stories I told you about.
Now here's one of the most chilling clips in this whole story, and I want you to really pay attention to this one. During a game segment, Diddy jokes with Ellen about how far back they go, then turns to her producer Twitch and quietly tells him not to be part of this one, before taking back a shirt he was about to hand him.
What do you have there? What's that?
Oh, no, something I brought for Portia.
She's not here.
No, but you was gonna give it to her as a gift.
All right, then I'll say it's mine.
Yeah.
Okay, that's sweet. Well, what about for me? Aw, look at that. That's so sweet. Thank you. How come it's for Portia and not... All right.
Watch Twitch's face in that moment if you go back and rewatch it. He looks shook, almost scared, like he heard something he wasn't supposed to. And remember, Twitch wasn't some random guest passing through. He was Ellen's executive producer, with access to every booking, every guest, everything that happened behind the scenes on that show, day in and day out. Now here's the timeline, and we're not going to claim more than what's public, because that wouldn't be fair. The show ended in 2022. Twitch was gone just weeks later. That's it. That's all we know for sure. But make of that whisper what you will, because it's hard to unhear once you know it's there. Let's shift gears for a second to another guest appearance, this time with French Montana. He explains how Diddy pulled him in the moment they met, along
This is a new one right here. French Montana is one that I haven't seen.
with everyone around him, like he had this gravitational pull nobody could resist.
Being in Africa, check it out, with a dream to be a hip-hop star, that's like thinking really, really crazy that he's gonna do that. He manifested that, came from Morocco, came and moved to New York, kept hustling and bustling, got on my radar. I see him, I'm like, I have to have him on the team. We in Vegas, he's like a hot commodity.
I'm going to pause for a second because French Montana right now, Diddy had to have him. You already know what happened to this man. You already know that French Montana had become another victim of Diddy.
Being humble. He makes great music, and that's what we're here for, and that's what it's about. But it's also great to hear, like, when there's certain special artists, and he's a special artist, and he's like my best friend, so I'm gonna always speak love about him.
Then comes the moment that really stands out, the one that gets brought up every time this story resurfaces. Ellen kisses French Montana's hand while staring directly at Diddy, and Diddy's reaction is sharp, almost jealous, like he's watching something he didn't expect.
Happy birthday to you.
See?
Happy birthday, dear French.
Why is he just sitting there like in his underwear, maybe a pair of shorts? It's just weird, man. Like this, he clearly spent the night at Diddy's house. They clearly had relations. Again, I wasn't there to know. I'm guessing, but knowing everything that we know now, I think it's not unfair to assume that. Would you guys agree? You could let me know down below.
Happy birthday to you. This is a special birthday for both of us.
That's not the kind of reaction you get from a regular talk show guest sitting across from a host. That's the kind of reaction that comes from two people who share something private, something the rest of the room isn't in on. Now let's talk about Justin Bieber, because his story shows exactly the pattern we've been building this whole video. Justin was 15 years old, introduced to Diddy through Usher, and he spent 48 hours with him. Just sit with that for a second. Diddy himself admitted on camera that they were doing things he couldn't disclose.
So these videos of Diddy with Justin Bieber when he was only 15 years old are resurfacing, and the one thing that I want to ask is, why was a 40-year-old hanging around with a 15-year-old? Why did no one think that was an issue or a red flag? And also, listen to what he says in this clip.
They're having the times of their lives, like you know, where we hanging out and what we doing. We can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream. You know, I have been given custody of him. You know, he signed to Usher. I had legal guardianship of Usher when you know he did his first album. I did Usher's first album. I don't have legal guardianship of him, but for the next 48 hours, he's with me. So and we.
If I'm the parent right there, I'm not okay with what he's saying.
Gonna go full crazy.
Buck full crazy.
I'm taking this out tonight.
What you wanna do? What you wanna do over the next 48 hours?
This is literally the definition of ***ing, and Justin, who was only 15 here, he was new to the industry and definitely very impressionable. Now that all these new allegations of Diddy have been exposed, it makes watching this video so much more disturbing.
Yes,
now, this next video of Justin Bieber with Trey Songz and Odell Beckham years ago at one of Diddy's parties is questionable.
Odell Beckham, this is disturbing to me. You know why? I'm a New York Giants fan. Odell Beckham started in the Giants and he's returning to the Giants this season. I really just hope that he's not involved in this stuff.
I'm not going to say anything, but you let me know what you think you saw down here.
There's even a quiet, almost silent exchange between the two of them that people have picked apart online for years, trying to figure out exactly what passed between them in that moment.
Poor Justin, man.
And later in life, Justin Bieber broke down publicly about what he went through in this industry in ways that were hard to watch and even harder to explain away. Line that up with the sick kids Ellen brought out for Diddy, and you're looking at the exact same pattern, just with a different young target and a different stage.
I just wanted to be a good example, and it was hard for me being that young and being in the industry and not knowing where to turn, and everyone, you know, telling me they love me and, you know, just turn their back on you in a second. I just want to protect her, you know? I don't want her to go through anything I went through. I don't wish that upon anybody.
Then there's the birthday tweet nobody questioned at the time. And honestly, this one still gets me every time I read it. Ellen posted a birthday message calling Diddy Cuddle McSnuggles and told her followers they didn't need to know why.
That did not age well for her.
Read that again if you have to. That's not the kind of thing you say about someone you just book for ratings a couple times a year. That's an inside joke. The kind of language that only makes sense between two people who share something the rest of us weren't supposed to know about. And she said it out loud, in public, for everyone to see and nobody to question. Next, the IV drips. And this one is almost too on the nose once you know the full story. On one appearance, Diddy shows up hooked to IV lines, right there on live television. And everyone laughs it off as him just being eccentric, just being extra, just being Diddy.
On tour, I just did 5 nights in a row. I walked in with an IV.
I know. I walked back there and he's
Okay.
literally holding an IV. You just took that out yourself?
Yeah, let me get to the story real quick. I know it's your show and everything, but I walked out with an IV, and they said, thank you. They said that I would have to stay. I said, no, I have to go. I said I could pull that out myself.
But based on reporting connected to his case, those IV drips were tied to recovering from multi-day gatherings, the same kind of gatherings described in the federal case against him.
I'd agree
And
with
there
that.
it was, sitting on daytime television, in plain sight, in front of a live studio audience, for anyone willing to look closely enough. And finally, the silence, which might be the loudest part of this entire story. In 2023, the anti-trafficking film Sound of Freedom became one of the most talked about movies of the year. A lot of celebrities spoke up, posted about it, and used their platform to support it.
Sound of Freedom has a message filled with hope and inspiration. The film sparks conversations and encourages people to help end trafficking in their own community. Go see it.
Ellen said nothing. Not a post, not a word, not even a passing mention. Now put it all together, because this is where everything we just walked through comes together. The kids brought out as a surprise, the daughter's conversation, the parties she admitted she already knew about, the tweet, the IV drips, and now the silence when the one film that spoke directly to this exact issue came out. That's not a list of coincidences anymore. That's a pattern.
So, we already know that she's the face, or was the face, of goodness in Hollywood. Is she even deeper connected into terrible things happening to our children? Or is this all just a coincidence? To dive deeper into the stories about Ellen DeGeneres and evil Hollywood, go check out this video, and I'll see you over there.